if you're doubling your growth every single year, you'll put yourself on a path to $1 billion over the course of 10 years. And doubling every year and achieving more and more every single year, that's a tall task. It's really hard to sustain and grow at triple digit numbers. That every single year I'm growing 100% year over year in
Mm.
every category. And when you do that, that's hard. That takes really talented people, and it takes really, invested, engaged, financial partners, and it takes really, really engaged customers that see the value in what you're doing.
Hello and welcome to the show. My name is David Mansilla. I've been being your host for a couple of years now, and it's a great pleasure to have with us Jeff. Hello, Jeff. How are you doing?
I'm good, David. Good to be
Uh,
with you today.
I was so excited to make this interview after we were doing the screening interview a couple of weeks ago. I have just realized that we, as the community of this beautiful northern hemisphere in the free world, have this privileged mindset where we operate on internet facilities. We turn on our phones. We use mobile applications. We have cloud computing. We have Zoom meetings across the world, and we have no idea what it takes for that technology to work. And I'm saying that because you are in huge part responsible for a lot of that. So can you tell me your full name? Where do you live and what do you do for a living?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Jeff Uphues. I'm the CEO of DC Blox. We're a company that is headquartered in Atlanta, Georgia, and we operate throughout the Southeast United States, building digital infrastructure for some of the largest cloud companies in the world, along with enterprises and governments and communication carriers and those alike.
That's fantastic, Jeff. So for people that don't know, and I'm going to what I'm going to say right now might sound primitive to some people, to some of the audience, but as this podcast is growing exponentially, we're getting all kinds of audiences. So I just want to remind people where the word cloud came from. And Jeff, you and I have white hair, so we saw the evolution of the internet. But a lot of the folks, especially the younger generation that are beginning to become into people of leadership, they might not know. So before the cloud came about, we had something called server rooms in our offices, and everything was managed by the local IT team. Then somebody came with the idea to create something called cloud computing. And the whole idea of cloud computing is to delegate the responsibility of managing that infrastructure to a much bigger entity where everybody could actually host their computers, but they wouldn't even be theirs anymore. So we went from server rooms in enterprises to co-hosting locations where you could actually rent a place on these amazing facilities, to cloud computer where you don't even know where your stuff is running, and has redundancy and failover and fire risk and disaster recovery managed. And that's where the term cloud came from. So when people says, I have my software on the cloud or I'm using the cloud, all they are saying is that there is huge companies now that run everything for enterprises that allows us as consumers just to have these applications running like magic, right? And Jeff, that's what you do, right? You are actually enable these companies to have this availability for us, to run the cloud for us, right?
Well, in many ways, I think you categorized it in the right way. The more and more dependency that we put on applications or digital services that creeped in from our first, cell phones, or from the first smartphones that came into our computers, that came into our television screens, that came into our tablets. All of those started in the same way you described. It started in a server room in a closet or a small room that was within an office building. And then it moved into a purpose-built facility that is more of a data center facility. You would be able to lease space like a condo in that you're housing your computers in, to then now the cloud computing side. And there's a good balance between what lives in the cloud and what still lives on computers within data centers. Um, the term cloud really just says it's going to a data center. It's just you don't know where it is. So, we like to say here that the cloud has four walls. It's called a data center, and you don't know where it's going to live or what it's going to do or what applications, because they share in different ones. But you start entering things like artificial intelligence and machine learning and the aspects of all the different types of intelligence, or the chat GPTs of the world that give us instantaneous answers to questions and problems. All that comes from computers that reside in buildings that are literally just powering the things we do day in and day out. And that's what we do. We build, operate, and own and support those facilities for where those computers lie. And we also build and operate the fiber networks that interconnect those facilities together. So in essence, we're part being the Autobahn that connects all this information that runs through it. And we're part owning these large buildings that, are housing some of the biggest applications you find on your mobile banking or your automobile in diagnostic information, or it might be hosting this Zoom call, or it might be hosting, other types of applications that you've just come to be accustomed to. So it's an exciting time because we're not slowing down using any type of digital services, and the market just continues to keep growing.
And how did the company get positioned into catering to supply these facilities?
Yeah, absolutely. I've been in this business for the better part of 35 years, so I've kind of seen it full circle. I saw it early from, when you're building the telephone networks that really enabled us to communicate at a less cost basis around the world, and some of the original long distance side. I saw it from the first launching of the internet, as you mentioned, about some of the gray hair that I have, and I was responsible for a good portion of companies that helped build the infrastructure back then that was just the internet communication, and what we knew as ISPs, or internet service providers, or knew as application service providers. And I had a front row seat at playing a lot of different roles. So I've been in this industry for a long time, and if you're fortunate enough, like I have been, I've learned from a lot of really, really good leaders along the way. So it gave me an opportunity to create avenues or windows of opportunities that we're able to see and seize, and then surround myself with really, really good people that say, how do we go solve this puzzle? Mm-hmm. And to me, there's not problems that exist. There's challenges, but really they're only just puzzles that need to be solved. And if you find a great team that you can go solve the puzzle in this world of digital infrastructure, amazing can be possible. And we're very fortunate and blessed that we're able to operate in markets we love across the Southeast, with a team we love, with customers we love, and it's been quite a journey to see how it's really growing at just an accelerated pace.
That's fantastic. So your responsibilities for the majority of the Southeast region in the United States, right?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, we operate across numerous markets today. So we're headquartered in Georgia. We operate in South Carolina. We've got capabilities and land in North Carolina. We're in as I mentioned, Georgia. We're in Tennessee. We're in Alabama. We're continually expanding into additional markets all throughout the Southeast.
What do you think, Jeff, is the secret sauce of your success? Because even though the type of work that you do is very unique, there is a lot of competition out there. And especially large IT companies, large multinationals, they have, number one, all the money in the world and all the resources in the world to choose whoever they want. Why would they choose you?
Well, there's three pillars for which we've built this business on that I continue to keep repeating every day to our customers and all of the members that work here on the DC Blox team. It's we execute by first building trust. We do that in a very collaborative teamwork environment, And we do that with tenacity every day, that we're going to outwork everybody, and we're going to ensure that we underpromise and overdeliver in our execution to our customers. And when you listen really closely to what your customers are having their challenges and solving the things that are in front of them, if you help them solve the puzzle and you do so with utmost transparency and just being good people. I mean, at the end of the day, business is not that hard when you put people first. And when you're putting people first and you're listening to things and you have creative ways to solve the puzzle, and you have really, really smart people, then I've learned that just get out of their way. Let the really, really smart people configure and do things that solve the puzzle for the customer, and do so repetitively over and over again. And so for us, we've been preaching the culture is what makes a difference. There's a lot of people that have more money. There's a lot of people that have more scale and size in their companies. There's not a lot of people who care more than what we do, or engage more than what we do, or really outwork what we do in solving the puzzle for our customers.
Jeff, you touched a great point. I have not seen a successful company that doesn't have a great culture. And if they happen to become successful without a good culture, they go out of business very quickly, especially in hard recessions. When the recession hits, it's a way for the market to get rid of the fat. All the companies that became rich just because there was an abundance of money, right? Not because they had a beautiful culture, isn't it?
It is, and I'm a firm believer that you have a culture that you intend to have only if you reinforce it and you watch over it. You've got to be the protector of the culture day in and day out, and it's got to be something that those are values that have to be aligned to people who believe in them. And if they don't, then you can't have that culture in the same way if people aren't believing in the shared values of what you have. And it's something you really have to work on. I mean, I know that we work on it every day. Gosh knows we have issues and make mistakes and do everything that is not always correct in every case. But I'll tell you that when you have really, really good people and you do so with respect and honesty and integrity and transparency and all the things that I mentioned before about the 3 T's of trust, teamwork, and tenacity, you can accomplish a heck of a lot.
And I truly believe that by making mistakes is when you learn the most, right? Once you hit certain level of success, if you don't stretch yourself enough, you're not going to keep growing, right? And when you grow, you will make another mistake. And that's what you said, like, everything that you just told me, for me, is just resembles a humble attitude, because it's humility that allows you to recognize that you're making a mistake and you can actually show it to solve it in a team setting, right?
Yeah, I mean, business is about putting yourself in positions that you can capitalize on later. So it's not luck. It's putting yourself in a position. It's putting yourself in a position by earning people's trust and respect over a long period of time. And when you do that, you're going to get a lot of opportunities that come your way, and you have to be eyes wide open to see when the opportunities exist. And you also have to be eyes wide open to saying, look, hey, we made a mistake, and own up to it. But overall, I mean, we're in a really blessed environment today of the digital infrastructure business is growing at just a alarming pace. We are executing as good as anybody is, but like I mentioned, we're trying to stay really, really focused and concentrated around the Southeast United States, because I believe that when we're there, we let our customers take us into other markets, whether that be around the country or around the world. You don't go jumping off into it to do it because you can. You do it because you should, because you're solving the puzzle for a customer by helping them better. So, that's really what has helped us grow our business, and doing so in a way of, I learned a long time ago, if you listen to your customers and you do what they tell you to do, you're going to have more success than not.
No, that's for sure. And also motivating your employees. For me, I used to talk about culture in all my businesses, but I didn't really believe it. Because I didn't understand it. It was just a poster in a wall that that a consultant came and put there.
Mm.
But when I actually really, I was almost in the, I was almost bankrupt in 2012. And then I had to take a year to learn really what leadership was and how to really create a culture. And when it came down to it, I realized that culture is nothing more than the set of filters and values that somebody uses to make decisions when the boss is not watching.
Yeah, yeah.
Isn't that incredible?
It is. If you can't have the conversation in front of somebody, then what are you hiding in the conversation? Is that something that you shouldn't be talking about or shouldn't be doing? Exactly. When no one's looking, what are the actions and the culture that empowers you to make the decision that is aligned with those values? And like I said, I mean, David, you got to do this every single day, and you just have to reinforce it, and the value-based decisions for what you make. Yeah, they have to be aligned to that, and you have to have buy-in across everybody, which is not the most easy thing, but certainly it's something that if you get it right, it works amazing.
It's incredible. Jeff, in your career, looking back a little bit, when was that breakthrough moment when you actually realized that you now were in a senior enough leadership position to be responsible for a lot of what the company is doing?
I think I wouldn't give my roadmap or my journey to say, hey, this is the easy way to do things. I forced myself to take different roles and responsibilities a lot of times. It's get involved in, understanding the customer was the first one, which is, okay, you get into a business development or a sales role. You then understand, okay, well, what attracts those customers, which kind of pull you into a marketing role. The priority of focus says, hey, what are you positioning of your product or service to a customer? You have to get involved in product roles and understand, what's it mean and how companies make money, and then into operating roles and how you support it. So, I knew that the switch went off for me of, hey, I can be in a really, really good leadership role by sharing the experiences for what I've had in multiple disciplines or around the C-suite of what I've done. And when you see it from a lot of different perspectives, you often learn more from the mistakes and the bad leaders you've been around than the ones of where everything went well. And I also learned that all of us have different gifts and how we are engaging with people. I'm a people person, people first type person, and I'm always going to ensure that I am listening a lot closer than what many's do. And you have to be able to listen to then understand what the issues are, and then your job as a leader is to remove the obstacles that everybody has. So it's been something for me. I just have to I can't point to any one thing other than I experienced a lot of different areas, and that prepared me to take different leadership roles.
That's beautiful. If you had to go back again and do it all over again, what would you change? So like, let's say you could go into a time machine and go back 15, 20 years into your career. What would you tell to yourself?
Be patient, but be quick. A
That's
lot of
interesting.
a lot of times I was too impatient and I forced things, and I wasn't patient for the results to take place. But when things do, like when opportunities come, you have to be prepared to then act and be decisive. Otherwise, you'll miss the window. And there's lots of opportunities that knock on your door. You have to be able to recognize it. And so, but you have to be patient for results, and you have to be patient and understand that it may not be an issue with a person. It may be an issue with the process of what's keeping you back, and not achieving all the success of what you really desire. So, for me, it's what would I say to somebody, and do 20 years ago? I say, be patient, but be quick in your understanding of capturing and seizing the opportunities that are in front of you.
That's beautiful. I wish I had that. I made so many mistakes, Jeff. But I finally figured it out. But it was a long journey for sure. For the company, how did the pandemic affected you? Did you guys get into trouble? Like, I remember I was in a business trip, and my wife calls me over and she says, I'm getting your assistant to get you back home because they're about to close the borders, and nobody knew what was going on. And I didn't even know that my business was going to survive. What did you do during that critical time when you knew that the massive lockdown was coming?
The pandemic was devastating for so many, and it was devastating on lives. It was devastating on businesses. For us, you know, the sense of what we're on today, or the application we're on today, Zoom. Zoom became part of or Teams, or Google Hangouts, or Google Video and other things. What you're doing, it became part of everyday life, and that drives the infrastructure that resides within our facilities, and drives the infrastructure related to how much network capacity for what you need. So, for us in the pandemic, our business started accelerating because of the digital technologies of, what was taking place with streaming TV, what was taking place with your smartphones, and the amount of new applications that were coming, what was taking place with the adoption more of video, what was taking place with, you have to make sure that you can't, you have to get your computing room out of your office that no one was in anymore, into a third-party facility that you knew would be maintained and operated to the specs of what you needed to be in. So for us, it was an accelerant.
That's incredible, eh? you know, uh, so I run multiple companies. One of them is a custom software solutions business, and half of our clients were manufacturing companies. So in 1 week, I got half of the work of the year canceled. And I'm like, okay, what do I do? So I waited, and I waited a little bit, but then I acted quickly, like you said. In 3 months, I not only recovered those contracts, but I actually started accelerating when people realized that they needed more software solutions, just like you. But for me, I actually saw 3 months where I'm like, are we going bankrupt here?
Yeah, it certainly was an interesting time in our business. If you look at the growth we're seeing over the course of the last 7 years, has been around 170% compounded annual growth rate across multiple areas, whether it's customer new bookings and sales, to just growth of the amount of units or capacity for what we sell. There's many metrics that are there, and it's continually accelerating. But we're having to do that with the same discipline and the same engagement that we did when we were early, because you have a little bit more resources, but you have to ensure that you've got the right team in front of you, and you're interacting with customers in the right way.
That is an incredible growth rate. Like 107% accumulated compounded is incredible, especially for a company your size. Something like that for a small business will actually kill them. I tell you because it almost happened to me too. From 2009 to 2011, we grew exponentially, and I ended up almost bankrupt at the end. How do you manage that? Because especially when, where do you find labor? Because the one thing that happened with COVID is nobody wanted to work.
Yeah.
Right.
The big thing for us, David, is alignment of interests. And you need alignment of interests across your employee base. You need alignment of interests across your investor base. You need alignment of interest across the people who are lending you money, and you need alignment of interest with your customers. And if you're all aligned with the outcomes that everybody clearly understands that are possible, only then can you achieve the growth of what I mentioned. It's not an easy task. I mean, we call this, I read a book a number of years ago called Blueprint to a Billion. And the one thing that you can say about Blueprint to a Billion, the one commonality across multiple industries that everybody had was, if you're doubling your growth every single year, you'll put yourself on a path to $1 billion over the course of 10 years. And doubling every year and achieving more and more every single year, that's a tall task. It's really hard to sustain and grow at triple digit numbers. That every single year I'm growing 100% year over year in every category. And when you do that, that's hard. That takes really talented people, and it takes really, invested, engaged, financial partners, and it takes really, really engaged customers that see the value in what you're doing.
In my case, I went to the point that the burnout was so great that I actually had a heart attack. Like the whole result of that exponential growth, because I didn't know what I was doing, it ended up almost killing me, like physically killing me, not only having the company almost bankrupt.
Yeah, well, it's, any company, the speed of the leader is the speed of the team, and you also have to understand that, not everybody can run at that pace. So you have to have a lot of self-awareness and a lot of understanding of when are you pushing too hard and when's the right time to back off and when's the right time to continue to grow.
That's incredible.
So thank you very much for some of our time today. I know I'm going to have to run here. I know we started a little bit late, but I'm going to have to run. I've got a few things that are really pressing, so I apologize for cutting this a little short.
Oh, no worries, Jeff. The time was fantastic. In fact, we were actually just finishing. Thank you so much for all your input, for your wisdom, for having this time with the audience. It shows that not only you, but your company is doing great things and you have a benevolent heart. If people would like to get in touch with you or find out more about your business, where can they find you?
Yeah, you can find us at dcblox.com, or you can find us, on social media channels for X or Twitter. As well as you can find us on other social media channels. Best way is to find us at dcblox.com.
dcblox.com. Jeff, thank you so much. God bless you and have a wonderful rest of the week.
Thank you, David. Appreciate your willingness to have me on your show.
Sounds good. Blessings. Cheers.
Bye.
That's all for today's episode of the Break Free Podcast. Head on over to iTunes and subscribe to the show. Starting your own business can be tough, but it doesn't have to be. Visit davidmansilla.com to pick up a copy of the #1 international best-selling book, Breaking Out of Corporate Jail. Expand what you consider to be possible and reach your full potential. And join us on the next episode.